This page is the front cover of the magazine. Right at the top, Nintendo 64 always first, biggest and the best. Bit of a bold claim even then. The main headline game is South Park Rally. They're calling it a kick-ass racer, which might be pushing it a bit for South Park. Cartman's on a motorbike looking as you'd expect. Looks like a first review of Shadow Man inside. That was the darker, more adult action game for the N64, a bit of a change from the colourful platformers. And of course, Pokemon. Win! Pokemon be the first to play it, some kind of competition, probably around the release of the original games which everyone went mad for. They're also showing off Donkey Kong 64 with all new game picks, and Turok Rage Wars with first N64 shots. Those were the big games everyone was waiting for. Free Pokemon poster inside too, standard stuff for the time. £2.95 cover price. Seems a bit steep now. This page is a blast from the past, isn't it? Looks like a full-page advert for a BT Cellnet Pay and Go phone from Argos. Buy this phone. Get this free. Ooh. Pointing to a very 90s-looking mobile phone and a hands-free kit, remember those? This is proper old-school mobile tech before everyone had one. £49.99 for the phone, which is a Philips C12, apparently sends texts, fancy that. And you get a free hands-free kit which they're calling Safer Conversations on the Move. Talk about stating the obvious. Prepay. No contract, no credit check, no monthly bills, no connection fee. Selling points for back then when mobiles were still a bit of a luxury. They're pushing call time cards, £10 and £15 vouchers, with a minimum top-up every 60 days. Brighter shopping Argos at the bottom. Classic. Just an advert for a phone really, nothing to do with games on this page. This page touts a Nintendo magazine as the UK's biggest seller, making 6 promises to its readers. They claim exclusive first looks at new Nintendo 64 and Nintendo games and products, emphasizing the importance of screenshots before the internet. The magazine promises easy-to-understand content, effective tips, moves and cheats, trustworthy writing, and a bold assertion that no other magazine is worth buying. The page features Team Nintendo, the editorial staff, and a mock cover of issue 84 from September 1999. Featured games include South Park Rally, Pokemon, Donkey Kong 64, and Turok Rage Wars. The magazine encourages readers to dive in and provides contact information for support and purchasing. Overall, the page aims to sell the reader on the ultimate Nintendo magazine experience. The next page is the cover of the magazine itself, and it's all about South Park Rally. Blimey, remember that one? They're saying it's the first playtest and all you need to know. Reckon they're showing off all the South Park characters you can play as, the kick-ass weapons and all the different vehicles. There's a big picture of Cartman looking a bit gormless in a rally car. Then there's a section called Game News, bragging about having the new games first and best. They're listing a load of N64 games. Games like Donkey Kong 64, Jet Force Gemini and Mario Golf. All top titles back then. Michael Owen's World League Soccer 2000 is in there too. Must be for the footy fans. Rayman 2. Roadsters, Sprocket, Turok Rage Wars and WWF WrestleMania 2000 get a mention, plus Zelda Gaiden, which is probably Ocarina of Time, but maybe they mean Majora's Mask. Those titles were always a bit confusing back then. And Rally Masters, probably another racing game. They've got new for Game Boy Color, and new for Nintendo 64 badges, so they're covering all bases. Lastly, there's a bit on Armorines, calling it a fab alien blaster, and saying it'll blow you away. Crikey, alien blasters. Those were the days. Seems like they've got previews for everything in this issue. This magazine features a mix of N64 and Game Boy Color content. Reviews highlight Shadow Man, Command and Conquer, Revolt, and a general total test N64 review section. A Blagfest giveaway offers prizes like Micro Machines, 64 Turbo Karts. Game guides provide tips for games like Star Wars Episode 1 Racer and Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Further sections include official and reader tips with prize opportunities, a Your Scores Hall of Fame, and a Pokemon pullouts. Finally, the Game Boy Color section covers games like Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. The magazine is a standard mix of reviews, tips, competitions, and popular culture content. This page is all about the upcoming South Park Rally game for the N64. Blimey, what a sight. It's being touted as the first ever N64 race, which is a bit cheeky considering all the racing games already out, but I suppose they mean a dedicated kart racer with these characters. It's got your favourite South Park lads on the cover, Cartman front and centre in his little go-kart. Game info box says it's by Acclaim, a 3D racer of course, and due out in November. The text at the bottom is classic hype. talking about Stan, Kyle, Kenny and Cartman screeching onto the N64. I suppose back then the idea of racing, as these cartoon kids, was quite something. Sweet, they say. Well, let's see if it lives up to the, enthusiasm. The next page is still banging on about South Park Rally. Kick-ass racer, they've called it. Bit strong language for a Nintendo mag back then, eh? They're still pushing this line that it's the lovable foursome, burning up the streets. Which is a bit rich considering the foul-mouthed bunch they are. It says SP Rally is packed with loads of cool courses, blinding power-ups and awesome action. Blinding power-ups? Sounds a bit suspect, doesn't it? They reckon you can take to the streets in single-player, or grab your mates for multiplayer. There are 2 screenshots, one showing Kyle racing in a snowy level that looks a bit like a Christmas card gone wrong, and another with Mr. Hat seemingly leading the pack, which is just plain weird. The captions underneath are pure cheese. Move over Anakin and Sebulba. Kyle and his racing pals are coming through. Comparing it to Star Wars Pod Racer. Bold claim that. And then, even Mr. Hat's in on the action, taking pole position with his loopy mate Mr. Garrison. Mr. Hat in a cart, goodness me. Still, it does sound like a laugh with your mates, if a bit rough around the edges visually, even for the N64. The review continues discussing South Park Rally, emphasizing its unique track design with alternative paths and shortcuts, differentiating it from standard kart races. The game features a self-acknowledged weak plot, where players race to become the temporary mayor to alleviate the mayor's stress. Screenshots showcase classic South Park moments, like Cartman using creamed corn and a snowy level with shortcut opportunities. The game offers various modes: story, tournament, practice, head-to-head, multiplayer, and challenge, shortcut-focused. While the plot is deemed uninspired, the game modes cover the expected bases for a kart racer, including both single and multiplayer options, allowing for track exploration and competitive gameplay. South Park Rally for the N64 uses a standard kart racer control scheme: A to accelerate, B to brake, Z for power-ups, C buttons for camera views, and R for handbrake. Character cars reflect their personalities. Cartman's is fast but heavy. Kenny's accelerates quickly but handles lightly. Playable characters include Stan, Kyle, Kenny, Cartman, Officer Barbrady, Mr. Garrison, and Starving Marvin. Story mode is a tournament-style race with no shortcuts. Team mode offers 2 versus 2 or 3 vs 1 races. The preview highlights cool vehicles like Cartman's truck and Officer Barbrady's tricycle. There's also mention of a character called Beefcake, who may win from the start line. Yeah. This page is a full-page advert for a website called At Jakarta and Freeserve, pushing their inline savings. It's got this bloke's head at the top, looking properly gobsmacked, like he's just seen the prices. They're banging on about visiting their website for loads of game titles at great prices, no queues and no hassle, the usual online shopping spiel back in the day. Ori. They mention At Jakarta being the place for games, software and info, saying that now everyone can get in on the online games scene, not just those lucky enough to live near a shop. Apparently they've got everything from PC and console games to DVDs and even educational software. Bit of a random mix if you ask me. They're also boasting about news and reviews on the site. Someone's even quoted as saying, "I found it on Freeserve," like that's some kind of massive endorsement. You can see game boxes for Championship Manager 3 on the N64, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, also on the N64, and Gran Turismo for the PlayStation. So they're covering a few bases there, appealing to both Nintendo and PlayStation owners. It's all very late 90s, isn't it, with the promise of online shopping being the next big thing and all that. South Park Rally for the N64 offers a fresh racing experience beyond Mario Kart, featuring single-lap missions with pre-race challenges and unique South Park-themed elements. Players race through Mega Man checkpoints and participate in chaotic games with power-ups and character-specific attacks. The game highlights its camera angle options: in-car for experienced players, behind car near for close-up action, and behind car far for a wider view. True to the show, the game boasts copious amounts of crude language and one-liners from the characters, with warnings about potentially offensive content, especially during character crashes. The game leans into the adult humor of the series, capitalizing on the show's cheeky reputation. This page is a proper blast from the past. In it, looks like we've got ourselves a free poster for South Park Rally. It's Cartman, naturally, hogging the limelight on a souped UP motorbike, looking like he's about to cause some carnage. Given the review on the last page banging on about the game's crude humor, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a South Park game on the N64 back in the day. It's definitely aiming for that same cheeky vibe the show was known for. Free poster though, can't complain about that. even if it's Cartman's mug staring back at you. Good for the kids, I suppose. South Park Rally boasts a wide variety of characters and vehicles, including unlockable options beyond Cartman's cop bike. The game stays true to the cartoon's spirit, even with Cartman's personality. Power-ups, inspired by the show, include attacks like cheesy poofs and chocolate salty balls, along with quirky effects like the staring frog and cream corn. Multiplayer is described as manic, with a planned range of challenges. An American football mode involving cars is specifically highlighted. Geority, the review compares the game to Mario Kart 64, suggesting it could be a top racer if the early version's potential is fully realized. The reviewer considers this a bold claim, pending the final release. This page showcases a preview for a game called Army Men on the N64, and they are really pushing the big game angle. It's flagged as a first ever playtest, so this is early days stuff. They're highlighting killer bugs and awesome weapons, which, if you know Army Men, is pretty much the core of it, isn't it? The main image is of one of those classic yellow plastic soldier figures. Looks like he's in a garden or something, maybe fighting giant bugs. It's all a bit grainy like you'd expect back then, but you can see the vibe they are going for. They are clearly trying to make this seem like a big deal for the N64, going by the taglines at the top, promising some action against creepy crawlies with a decent arsenal. Fair enough, Army Men games were always a bit of a laugh, weren't they, even if they weren't always top-tier classics. Let's see if they can pull it off on the N64. This page is all about Armorine's Project Swarm for the N64, and they're really pushing the boat out, calling it a big game again, just like they did with Army Men. Seems Acclaim are keen on these insect-blasting shooters, eh? They're pitching it as a 3D shoot-'em-up, and it's slated for December 1999. The tagline is, "For the fiercest shoot-'em-up on your N64, look no further than this Lil Ripper," which is a bit strong, but alright, we'll see. The article's headline is, "The bugs are coming." Subtle. They're saying it's going to be bigger than Turok 2, and the biggest blast you've ever clapped eyes on. Bit much, isn't it? But they are talking about mutant alien bugs, invading Earth and swarming the planet. Mission simple. Send them back to space. Standard stuff. They reckon Armorines is looking every bit N64 classic. Again, bit early to call it, but they're clearly excited. There are a couple of screenshots. One shows a proper nasty looking bugger, looks a bit like a spider crossed with a lobster, stood right in front of you. Caption says, "There are loads of alien scum you've got to kill." Groundbreaking stuff. The other screenshot shows another alien thing getting blown up, caption saying, "Send them packing with your awesome weapons." So yeah, it's bugs, guns, and N64. Seems like a solid enough shooter, could be a decent Christmas title if they get it right. Armorines is shaping up to be a bug-blasting shooter. The premise involves Earth facing an alien invasion from a species about to self-destruct. Players have 128 hours to stop them. You choose from two heroes, Tony, a 230-pound rocket launcher user, and Myra, who prefers grenade launchers. The controls are standard for an N64 shooter, similar to Turok 2 and GoldenEye, with familiar button mappings for movement, weapon selection, and shield usage. The game features a variety of weapons like the Galahad, Lightbringer, Saracen, and Scorpion, designed to combat different types of alien bugs. Screenshots depict Siberia, underground bases, and spider-like alien enemies. Overall, the game aims to be a solid shooter experience. Armorines features bug-like alien enemies, ranging from weak fodders to powerful queens. Other enemy types include quick soldiers, slow but tough guards, and brains that summon reinforcements. Basic tactical advice like keeping your weapon loaded is given. The game features a typical sci-fi arsenal: laser, Merlin rocket launcher, alien weapon, and shaft of Ra. Alongside this game content, there's a nostalgic advert for the late 90s ISP Madasafish. It offered a free CD and £10 for signing up, using edgy, humorous marketing language and a website with a free phone number. The advert is a time capsule of early internet marketing, highlighting how drastically the internet landscape has changed. This text previews the N64 game, Armorines. The walkthrough begins with, "Enter the volcano," warning of lava and small alien creatures called fodders. Next, a bug fight section reveals that shooting one bug can trigger infighting between them. Down in the Desert introduces an Egyptian-themed level with pyramids, hidden caves, and tougher bugs, suggesting the use of the Shaft of Ra weapon. Finally, the Hive, the alien base, features numerous eggs to destroy to prevent enemy spawns. The review ends positively, calling Armorines a mind-blowing shoot-'em-up, with terrifying baddies and action-packed levels, suggesting it's worth checking out for fans of the genre. This page is a bit of a laugh. It's a full-page advert for Pot Noodle. You've got this young bloke, Keith, completely engrossed in scoffing down a chicken and mushroom pot noodle, noodles hanging out his mouth and all. Meanwhile, in the background, there's this woman, Tamara, looking less than impressed, probably because the text above says, Tamara wants him to meet her parents. All Keith wants is a spanking gorgeous pot noodle. So it's playing on the idea that blokes, especially gamers probably, just want simple pleasures like a quick snack, rather than dealing with the stress of meeting the in-laws. It's a pretty standard late 90s advert style, using humor to try and get your attention. No games on this page at all, just noodles and relationship drama, or lack thereof depending on how you see it. This page jumps straight into the reviews, which is what you really want to see in a mag back in the day, isn't it? It's all about new game reviews, and it seems to be pushing that they've got the most coverage, more shots than any other mag they're boasting. They've got a little box explaining their scoring system, from 044 being real rubbish, all the way up to 90,100, which is amazing game you must play. And if you get over 90%, you get their awesome award, which they seem pretty proud of, saying it's only for games they love and think you really must play. Looks like they've given the awesome award to Shadow Man on the N64. They're calling it a frightening adventure game, and saying it'll turn your blood cold. Bit dramatic, but that's the style back then. Then there's Command and Conquer, also on the N64, a fab war sim, where you build up your forces and take over the world. Standard C and C stuff, really. Lastly, they've got Revolt, another N64 title, describing it as mad racing action with your ickle radio-controlled car in a big, bad world. Revolt was a bit of a laugh actually, pretty unique, with the radio-controlled cars. So there you have it, 3 N64 games getting a look in this month, with Shadow Man being the star of the show, apparently. This review praises Shadow Man on the N64, awarding it high marks. Released on September 3rd, the single-player game cost £49.99 and utilizes a memory pack and rumble pack. The review, titled, Don't Get Scared Now, hypes the game as a gory, scary experience with terrifying bosses. Players journey through creepy worlds to stop Jack the Ripper and Legion from creating a horrific asylum. The game features intense weapons and voodoo magic, aiming to chill you to the bone. Screenshots highlight the game's action and the supposed scariness of its monsters. The review positions Shadow Man as a darker, more mature game compared to other N64 titles, with a bold prediction that the game will be a big hit due to its incredible graphics and breathtaking action. The review dives into Shadow Man, a game with a convoluted story starring Mike Leroy, a Chicago man who becomes the Shadow Man after his family's murder. Guided by voodoo sorceress Mama Nettie, the player must stop Legion, the Lord of Darkness. The game features a creepy atmosphere enhanced by top-notch sound design. Gameplay involves switching between Mike Leroy and Shadow Man, with death in the real world sending you to Deadside. The review provides a gameplay tip: shoot barrels and crates for ammo. It introduces key characters: Mama Nettie as an ally, the evil Legion, Jaunty, a seemingly random Irish snake charmer, and Jack the Ripper, a villainous addition to Legion's forces. Overall, the review highlights the game's story setup and character introductions. Quote: This Shadow Man guide explores gameplay mechanics. Mike's life force, health, has a limited capacity, while Shadow Man's shadow meter is powered by dark souls, enabling the use of shadowgun and voodoo weapons. Dual-wielding guns is a key combat element. B for right hand, Z for left. The guide also covers using shadow power to open blocked doorways. You need to shoot Govis for shadow power and activate doorways when your shadow meter matches the required power level. Finally, the article touches on the game's scariness, comparing it to other N64 titles like Turok 2 and Zelda, Ocarina of Time. It playfully dismisses Superman 64 as a terrifyingly bad game experience. He also has me. This review praises the N64 game Shadow Man, highlighting its unique voodoo-based gameplay. Players wield weapons like the asson, baton, flambeau, and marteau, powered by collected voodoo skulls. The review emphasizes the game's length, especially the expansive asylum level, filled with challenging enemies and hazards. It also mentions Shadow Man's comic book origins, and a crossover with Turok. Awarding a score of 93%, the review calls the game awesome, citing its creepy atmosphere, action-packed gameplay, terrifying bosses, and overall must-have status, even compared to other N64 titles like Zelda and Turok 2. This page is a full-page advert for Revolt. Right in your face is a massive, frankly terrifying looking white cat, all teeth and claws, looming over a couple of radio-controlled cars. It's pure 90s marketing madness really, isn't it? The game title, Revolt, is splashed across the top in big orange letters, and below the cat, there's a triangle shouting, Revolt out of control from August 1999. So, it's letting you know when to expect it. Down at the bottom you've got the logos for Nintendo 64, PC, and PlayStation, so it's a multi-platform release. No surprises there back then. Claim logos also prominent. They were always keen on a bit of in-your-face advertising. It's all about getting the message across that this RC car game is a bit wild. Thanks to the giant cat, I suppose. This Nintendo 64 review praises Command & Conquer, a real-time strategy game. The review highlights the game's high price, £44.99, single-player nature and Nintendo publishing. It's touted as the first proper wargame on the N64, promising to blow your mind. Gameplay involves building an army, choosing between GDI and Nod factions, harvesting Tiberium, and destroying the enemy. While acknowledging blocky graphics, the review praises the 3D levels and explosions. A basic tutorial is included. Overall, the review is enthusiastic, emphasizing the game's strategic depth and its significance in bringing the strategy genre to consoles. This page continues the Command & Conquer review, moving into gameplay tips. It's all about getting you started in this proper wargame on the N64. First off, they're banging on about listening to your orders. Apparently, General Shepard for the good guys and Seth for the, shall we say, less good guys, will tell you what to do. Crucial stuff, apparently. Then it dives into on the battlefield. Basic RTS stuff, really. Even for back then. Move your troops around, draw a box to select them, tell them where to go. They even point out the white arrow, just in case you were struggling to spot it. And a first tip box reminds you to keep your blokes out of the Tiberium fields, unless you fancy them turning into crispy critters. Fair enough advice. Finally, kill 'em dead explains how to attack. Drag the box over the enemy, and boom, they're scrap. They even mention keeping an eye on your troops' health, which is sensible. The sounds section is hilariously enthusiastic, saying the speech is fantastic, and to crank up the volume for screams and explosions. Bit much. But I suppose in '99 decent in-game speech was still a novelty on consoles. It all seems pretty straightforward, but I guess they're catering to the N64 crowd who might be new to this kind of game. Remember, this was supposed to blow our minds as the first proper war game. Times have changed, eh? This review of Command & Conquer delves into gameplay tips, starting with unit types like minigunners, grenade launchers and engineers. Base building is standard RTS fare, requiring construction yards, Tiberium refineries, power plants, and barracks. The review highlights exploration and combat, emphasizing the importance of terrain and anticipating ambushes. It then touches on the game's length, noting its single-player focus and lack of multiplayer. Special operations feature secret missions, rescuing POWs, and obtaining weapon parts. The reviewer praises the commando and the resilience of tanks. The game receives an 86% score, praised for its tense gameplay and enjoyable enemy destruction, despite the multiplayer absence. The review suggests that Command & Conquer, despite being a console port, is a good choice for strategy game fans. This page is a cracking advert for the Game Boy Color, right? It's dead simple, just 6 Game Boy Colors arranged in a circle, showing off all the different colors they came in. There's the classic red one, a blue one, yellow, green, and even a see-through purple one so you can see all the guts inside, which was pretty cool at the time. The advert's got the words "Collect all 6" in big letters at the bottom, and underneath that the Game Boy Color logo with "different" as the tagline. It's a classic bit of marketing, pure and simple. Just reminding everyone that the Game Boy Color was the must-have gadget and that there were loads of cool colors to choose from. It's a smart way to push people to buy more than one, you know. Gotta catch 'em all, before Pokemon even properly kicked off over here. Revolt on the N64 is reviewed, with the reviewer expressing excitement. The headline boasts mad mini-machines tearing up your 64, suggesting an action-packed racer. Priced at £44.99 and released September 3rd, it features remote-controlled cars racing on 14 tracks. The game offers wild and wacky real-life worlds with challenging physics. Gameplay includes single race, championship, time trial and stunt modes, along with multiplayer. Graphics are deemed decent, though not spectacular. The reviewer highlights the variety of gameplay options and modes as a positive. Overall, it's described as a fun racer, with lots to offer, despite not having groundbreaking graphics. The N64 review praises Revolt's funky soundtrack. though notes weak explosion sound effects. Collecting yellow stars scattered on tracks is crucial for unlocking new cars and courses. The game offers standard camera views. Power-ups, similar to Mario Kart, add chaos with items like oil slicks, rockets, and shockwaves. The reviewer highlights the fun of multiplayer, particularly with battle mode. While the controls are complex, the game is ultimately rewarding, making it a recommended title for those willing to invest time, and a great option for playing with friends. Revolt for the N64 is a multiplayer RC car racer focusing on head-to-head competition. The game highlights its multiplayer mode, offering tips on racing strategies, supported by screenshots. A key downside is the limited 4-player races, though the game attempts to compensate with adjustments to even the playing field. Revolt includes a track editor allowing players to create custom courses using over 50 track pieces, offering extensive design possibilities. The review concludes with an 82% score, praising the game's unique racing style and challenging controls, acknowledging both its strengths and frustrations. This page is a full-page advert for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on the Nintendo 64. It's splashed across the page in big, bold letters. Typical marketing hype, you know how it is. 600 miles per hour. Experience it. Catchy enough, I suppose. They're really pushing the speed aspect. Dubki, you get a good look at the pod racers, showcasing the futuristic vehicles from the film. There's Anakin's pod racer there in yellow, along with Sebulba's orange one, and another one up top. The advert highlights some technical data in a table at the bottom left. Pod racing, obviously the event, 406-99 the date, Planet Tatooine the venue, and Jabba the Hutt as the sponsor. Classic Star Wars stuff. Then below that, more technical guff. Speed, 600 miles per hour plus. Opponents, 21 plus. Worlds, 8. Levels, 21. And thrills, limitless. Standard marketing spiel to get you excited. Nintendo 64 logo is prominent, with "Feel Everything" underneath, their slogan at the time. LucasArts logo is also there. Naturally, it's a pretty standard advert from back then, all about grabbing your attention with speed and visuals for the new Star Wars game on the N64. This advert promotes Match magazine, a popular football magazine from the 90s, highlighting its claim as the UK's biggest-selling football magazine. The ad showcases 4 covers, emphasizing key features. These include a best results service featuring Michael Owen, best posters with Leeds United, best competitions with Ryan Giggs, and best stars featuring David Beckham. Match promised exclusive content like posters, Premier League files, and star interviews, all for 99p. The magazine capitalized on the era's football fever, offering a comprehensive look at the sport and catering to young fans' interests. This article from the Game Boy Color's heyday promotes itself as the ultimate guide to handheld gaming in the UK, promising honest reviews from Nintendo experts. It showcases the blue Game Boy Color playing Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, highlighting its ability to bring ace versions of N64 classics to a portable format, though perhaps overstating the quality. The article previews upcoming games, including Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, All-Star Baseball 2000, Maya the Bee, 720 Degrees, Buster Move 4, The River King, Asterix and Obelix, and The Puzzling Drop Zone. It emphasizes the diverse selection of games available, portraying the Game Boy Color as a desirable handheld, despite its limitations compared to home consoles. This page is a Game Boy Color advert shouting about Mini Magic. It's got a bloke chilling out in what looks like a park, playing his Game Boy Color. Bit cheeky, they've got an N64 and a dinky little telly set up next to him, presumably to hammer home the point that you can get some N64-style action on the go. They're saying, play Nintendo anywhere, with cool N64 titles on your ickle gaming buddy. Bit of a stretch to say Game Boy Color titles are proper N64 experiences, but you get the idea they're pushing. The tagline is, forget sitting in front of your telly, check out these beauties, and play on the go. It's all about the freedom of handheld gaming, which was a big deal back then, wasn't it? Trying to convince us we didn't need to be glued to the telly to get our Nintendo fix. Mini Magic is a decent enough slogan, I suppose, gets the point across. Simple advert really, focusing on the portable aspect of the Game Boy Color. This page promotes the Game Boy Color's portable power, emphasizing its ability to deliver Nintendo gaming on the go. It highlights 3 games: Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, featuring classic Mario gameplay, Buster Move 4, an addictive bubble-bursting puzzle game, and All-Star Baseball 2000, offering a pocket-sized baseball experience. While the article acknowledges the Game Boy Color's limitations compared to the N64, it successfully showcases the handheld's potential, with a variety of well-known franchises designed to be played anywhere. This page is shouting out "now in color" in massive letters, can't miss that, can you? It's all about new Game Boy Color games, for your lil beauty as they charmingly put it. First up, we've got Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. Yeah, everyone knows Mario, rescuing the princess from Bowser and his goons. It's the classic NES game, but now in glorious Game Boy Color. Apparently it's still addictive as ever, running and jumping through those 8 wacky worlds, finding warp zones and all that. They reckon it's a must-have for Game Boy Color owners, and slapped a whopping 93% score on it. Bit generous if you ask me, but hey, it's Mario. Then there's All-Star Baseball 2000, by acclaim, £24.99 again. Seems to be the going rate. This one's for the baseball fans, obviously. Grab your glove and bat and all that jazz. Try and win the World Series on your Game Boy. They say it's got fancy graphics and is a proper baseball sim. Even got a home run derby mode. They gave it a 91%, so not too shabby for a handheld baseball game, I suppose. We can also see the boxes for Asterix and Obelix and Legend of the River King floating around, so I guess they are new out too, part of the corkers on offer. This page reviews several Game Boy Color games, out now in color. Maya the Bee, £24.99, a platform puzzle game, received 75%. Drop Zone, £24.99, a space shooter, is highly praised with an 88% score. Asterix and Obelix, £19.99, a platformer, earns 79%. Buster Move 4, £24.99, a bubble-bursting puzzle game, is well received with a 91%. 720 Degrees, £24.99, a skateboarding game, scores 81%. Finally, The River King, £24.99, a fishing game, gets a disappointing 65%. The selection offers a variety of genres, with mixed critical reception. This is an advertisement for Gameplay, a mail-order company specializing in video game accessories and games, primarily for the Nintendo 64. They claim to be the largest supplier and offer a wide selection of N64 games, including classics like Zelda 64 and Mario 64, along with various accessories like memory cards, rumble packs, and hint books. They also sell pre-owned games, with guarantees and a money-back offer, though with restocking fees. The ad features accessories like carry cases and dust covers. Additionally, it promotes cool furniture, such as lava lamps, a Datal Action Replay Pro cheat cartridge, a discounted Atari Jaguar with games, and a top drive wheel for racing. Overall, it's a typical mail-order page designed to entice customers to purchase gaming goods. The Total Test section, guided by Yoshi, reviews Nintendo games and hardware monthly. Sections include All New Gear, Famous 5, N64 Robot Favorites, Hard as Nails, Toughest Games, N64 Magic, Mystical Ninja 2, New Games, Load Runner, and Charts. All New Gear covers controllers and accessories. Game reviews include titles like Premier Manager, Quake 2, and WWF Attitude, Dapoler. A scoring system rates games from real rubbish, 0 to 44, to amazing game you must play, 90 to 100, with an awesome award for top scoring games. Scores are updated to reflect new releases. Previews tease a Shadow Man review, and a WWF Attitude review. A figure in a metal mask is featured, possibly related to the Hard as Nails section. This page reviews a variety of Nintendo 64 games, starting with a section on challenging games, particularly focusing on the difficult jiggy challenges in Banjo-Kazooie. Following this, several game reviews are presented. Aero Fighters Assault and Aero Gauge received low scores, while Airborder 64 was considered thin despite a mediocre score. All-Star Tennis 64 was rated average, while both All-Star Baseball 99 and 2000 received high praise. Blast Corps, Body Harvest, and the Bomberman games received mixed reviews. Buck Bumble, Buster Move 2 and 3, and Castlevania were well received. Chameleon Twist and its sequel received middling scores, and Charlie Blast was considered good. Chopper Attack, Play Fighter 63 and a third, and the Cruisin' series saw varied scores. Diddy Kong Racing and Duke Nukem 0 Hour both earned high praise. Doom 64 and Duke Nukem 64 were considered good, while Dual Heroes was criticized. Finally, Extreme G received a positive score. The page offers a diverse range of opinions on N64 titles. This review covers several Nintendo 64 accessories and games. The Rumble Pack Roundup highlights various force feedback add-ons, with the original Nintendo Rumble Pack being praised. Other options include the Joytech Jolt Pack, various versions, the Datal Shockwave, the Wild Things Vibra Pack, the Blaze Jolt Pack, Glow in the Dark, the Performance Tremor Pack, the LMPG 64 Tremor Pack with memory, and the Rechargeable Jolt Pack. Game reviews range from the excellent to the abysmal. Standouts include F1 World Grand Prix 2, 90%, Fighter's Destiny, 85%, Glover, 85%, ISS 98, 93%, Lilat Wars, Star Fox 64, 90%, GoldenEye, 007, 94%, and FIFA 99, 90%. Conversely, titles like F1 Pole Position, 62%, Hexen 64, 50%, and FIFA 64, 40%, received poor scores. This page explores N64 peripherals and game reviews. A section reviews various N64 steering wheels, from budget-friendly options like the ASC2 wheel to the high-end Top Gear wheel. Another segment highlights games with robot characters, including Quake 2 Gladiator and South Park Mega Man. The game reviews themselves are varied. Mario Kart 64 and Mortal Kombat 4 receive high scores, 90%, while Mischief Makers gets a 74% and Mario Party an 85%. Mystical Ninja impresses with an 88%. Conversely, Milo's Astro Lanes and MK Mythologies, Sub-Zero fare poorly, scoring 52% and 36% respectively. NASCAR 99 lands in the middle with a 62%. The page ultimately offers a snapshot of the N64's diverse gaming landscape. This vintage gaming magazine advert for virtual reality offers N64 and Game Boy deals. An N64 bundle included Star Wars Episode I Racer and an extra controller for £109.99. Numerous N64 games like GoldenEye and Zelda, Ocarina of Time were available for £14.99 or £19.99. Bundles featuring WWF Attitude, Jet Force Gemini, and Duke Nukem 0 Hour all came with extras for around £39.99. Game Boy Color and Pocket consoles, including the Funtography version, were also featured. A pick and mix section allowed purchasing Game Boy Color games like Pokémon and Zelda. Accessories, including Game Boy printer paper, were also on sale. The mail order form accepted credit cards and checks. The ad, promoting great brands, great prices, showcased a simpler time of gaming retail. This page from a retro gaming magazine reviews N64 memory packs and games. Memory packs, essential for saving game progress, are tested from various brands, Blaze, Spectra Video, etc., ranging in size from 256K to 4MB, and priced between £7 and £20. The review humorously details the importance of these packs, explaining even the basics of their size. The game reviews cover a variety of N64 titles, primarily sports games, NBA, NFL, Olympic hockey. Other genres like racing, Rush 2, San Fran Rush, shooting, Rogue Squadron, Quake, and even a management game, Premier Manager 64, are included. Each game review gives a score, price, £40 to £50, and notes required peripherals, memory pack, rumble pack. The reviews have entertaining, and sometimes blunt, commentary. The page offers a nostalgic look at the N64 era and the necessity of memory packs. This page is the front cover. Blimey, it's bright yellow, isn't it? Right in your face. It's a Pokémon special from the Nintendo official magazine. Can't miss that, eh? Pikachu and Ash are plastered all over it. The "Gotta Catch 'em All" slogan is there. Of course it is. It's Poké Special #1, so clearly they were hoping for a few more of these then, weren't they? It says inside you'll find all you need to know about Nintendo's newest heroes, which is Pokémon basically. They're covering Pokémon games, the TV series, and the toys. Well, it was a craze, wasn't it? Couldn't move for Pokémon stuff for a while there. Simple times. This page screams Pokémon, doesn't it? The Pokémon are coming, it blares out in huge letters. Bit dramatic, but to be fair, it felt a bit like that at the time. They really were everywhere. It goes on about how they'd eaten Japan and scoffed the States, and now it's our turn, take cover. Cheeky. Then there's a section called Poké. Who? A bit daft considering the cover. But suppose they're properly introducing it for anyone living under a rock. It says they're Nintendo's newest heroes, these bizarre beasties for the Game Boy. 150 of them in total. each with their own bits and bobs, strengths and weaknesses. Gotta catch 'em all, of course, that was the whole point. Apparently the craze is all over the place, not just the Game Boy anymore, but cards, toys, even a TV show, blimey. Ersiku, Monster Mania section is talking about the games, naturally. Says they've appeared in GB and Nintendo 64 titles already, and there's loads more coming. If you're into Nintendo, you've got to get into Pokemon, they reckon. Picture of Squirtle there, saying he's one of the happiest Pokemon. Right, you are Squirtle. Big picture of Ash and Misty in the middle too, the main duo, can't miss them. Yep, proper Pokemon takeover this issue then. This article previews several Pokemon games. For the Game Boy, it highlights the original Pokemon game, where players collect, train, and battle creatures with the aim of becoming a Pokemon master. It also mentions Pokemon Pinball, a pinball game featuring the Pocket Monsters, Warrington, Maine. For the N64, it discusses Pokemon Stadium, allowing players to battle their Game Boy Pokemon in 3D using a transfer pack. The article also previews Pokemon Snap, a photography game where players take pictures of Pokemon in a safari setting, and Pokemon Yellow, where Pikachu is a central character and interacts with the player using a microphone. This page is a bit of alright, isn't it? Classic Pokemon promotion, right there in the mag. It's pushing the Pokemon TV series being shown on Sky 1 every day, at 8:30 in the morning. Gotta get those kids glued to the telly before school, I suppose. They've even got a little section called Pokefacts, highlighting Psyduck, Wartortle and Mankey with some basic info about them. Nothing too groundbreaking, but hey, it's for the kids. Then there's a competition to win 50 Pokemon t-shirts, and even an N64 game. All you had to do was name the 3 Pokemon pictured, put your answer on a postcard, and send it off to Nintendo Official Magazine by the 17th of September 1999. Pretty easy peasy stuff if you knew your Charizard from your Blastoise, and that Sandshrew down there. Warrington. And, as if that wasn't enough, they're giving away a free Pokemon wall chart with this issue of N.am. Stick it on your bedroom wall, tick off the Pokemon you spot in the Sky 1 series, and send in a photo with your wall chart to win another N64 game. Double chance to win an N64 game, can't complain about that, can you? Clever way to get kids engaged with both the magazine and the TV show, I reckon. This page introduces key characters from the Pokemon world. Ash Ketchum, the aspiring Pokemon master, leads the charge with his electric partner, Pikachu. Professor Oak provides guidance and tools. Opposing them are Team Rocket's Jessie, James, and Meowth, always plotting but failing. Misty, a water Pokemon enthusiast, and Gary, Ash's arrogant rival, complete the main cast. The page also highlights the Pokemon movies. Pikachu's Vacation offers light-hearted fun, while Mewtwo Strikes Back presents a darker narrative, featuring the powerful psychic Pokemon Mewtwo. The movies were a major cultural event, with a UK release planned. This page is pure Pokemon stuff, right in your face. It's a full spread of merchandise, all yellow and blue, proper 90s style. Looks like they're trying to get kids to empty their piggy banks for all this gear. There's a Pokemon challenge game, looks like a board game where you flick discs. 4 players can have a go, and it's priced at £17.99. Then there's Power Bouncers, bouncy balls, with Pokemon inside for £1.99 each. Simple but effective to get kids collecting, I suppose. Next up is Pokemon Pokeball, a handheld maze game for £21.99, claiming you can catch all 150 Pokemon in it. Bit of a stretch that. Then you've got a Pokédex organizer, another electronic gadget for £21.99. It's supposed to have info and pictures of all 150 Pokemon, which back then was a big deal before everyone had the internet in their pockets. Beneath that is the Pokemon Thundershock Challenge, a pinball machine for £26.99, where you play as Ash and catch Pokemon. A bit pricey for what it is, probably. Lastly, there are lighted keychains Jigglypuff, Chansey, Pikachu, Psyduck and Squirtle, all the usual suspects. They light up and cost £3.49 each. Those would have been pocket money purchases for sure. And Cyclone 2, which are Pokemon toys with discs for battling, costing £21.99. So yeah, a whole load of Pokemon stuff, aimed squarely at getting kids hyped up and spending their money. Reminds me of being a kid again, wanting all of this stuff. This page is more Pokemon Mania. Looks like they're still pushing all sorts of merchandise. We've got battle figures, 2 tiny Pokemon figures and battle discs for £4.99, probably to use with that Cyclone 2 thing from the last page. Then there's electronic Pokemon, little talking figures for £7.99, although they admit it's just gibberish charming. Next up is a plush Pikachu, Nice and cuddly apparently, for £9.99. They're really pushing the Pikachu brand here. There's a Pikachu keychain for £5.49 that squeaks Pika Pika to annoy your parents. Classic. Pokemon Yo-Yos are here too, with Pokemon designs and music, costing £9.99. A bit much for a yo-yo, isn't it? Key. And then a Pikachu camera, a toy camera, that puts mini Pokemon around the edges of your photos for £15.99. Finally, we've got Pokemon trading card game starter sets and booster packs, ranging from £2.20 to £6.49. Can't forget the cards, they were everywhere back then. Yeah, just a page full of Pokemon stuff, all brightly coloured and aimed squarely at kids wanting to spend their pocket money. Reminds you of simpler times, doesn't it? This page is continuing the Pokemon craze, but this time it's a competition to win a load of Pokemon tat. Looks like Tiger Electronics are flogging a whole range of Pokemon gear, and they're giving away the lot as a monster compo. The prizes include pretty much everything you can imagine. Light-up keychains, Pikachu plush keychains, those Pokemon yo-yos they were banging on about, the Pokemon camera, some Thundershock challenges which I assume are another handheld game, Pokeballs, Cyclones, and even a Pokedex organizer. Quite the haul for any young Pokemon trainer. To win this mountain of plastic, you need to be a Pokemon expert apparently. The competition asks you to name 2 fighters from Pokemon Ultimate Warrior. Sounds like another one of those handheld electronic battlers. You have to scribble the names on a postcard and send it off to the magazine's London address. Standard competition fare, really. They always had these massive prize bundles to try and get kids hyped up. Still, if you were a kid back then, winning all this Pokemon stuff would be like hitting the jackpot. This electronics boutique page showcases an N64 sales chart. Episode 1 Racer topped the list, capitalizing on Star Wars hype. The chart featured a solid lineup of popular titles like South Park, GoldenEye, and Mario Kart 64. The page also includes game reviews. South Park received a high score, while Superman was heavily criticized. Other reviewed games included Tetrisphere, 1080 Snowboarding, and Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, with ratings ranging from decent to excellent. Finally, the page highlighted various third-party N64 controllers, including options for left-handed players. While the official Nintendo controller was considered the best, other options offered varying features and quality levels. This retro gaming page details N64 blockbuster rentals and game reviews. Star Wars Racer dominated rentals, followed by FIFA 99, Rogue Squadron, and V-Rally 99. The top 10 also included Castlevania, WCW/NWO Revenge, South Park, Micro Machines, Zelda, and F1 World Grand Prix. Reviews showcased a mixed bag of scores. Zelda, Ocarina of Time received a stellar 97%. Other highly rated games included Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, 94%, WWF Attitude, 91%, and V-Rally Edition 90%. Cool Rentals recommended Premier Manager 64 for variety. A feature on N64 Magic highlighted Mystical Ninja 2 starring Goemon. The page offers a glimpse into popular N64 titles and their reception. This page is an advert for the Equalizer cheat code cartridge for the Nintendo 64, back in the day when games were, let's be honest, sometimes a bit brutally difficult. It's got the classic marketing line, "Ever felt cheated? Even the odds," suggesting if a game's giving you grief, just cheat. For £19.99 you could get this cart and apparently load up on infinite lives, extra weapons, health, all that jazz, even freeze the game action, which was handy for those impossible bits. It boasted preloaded cheats for loads of top N64 games, and even let you create your own with a built-in code generator. They also made a big deal about it being Action Replay compatible, which everyone knew was the gold standard for cheat devices back then. You could even call a premium rate number, or go to their website for even more codes, which is cheeky. It was available at places like Waitesmith and Games, so pretty much everywhere you bought games back in the day. Basically, if you were stuck on a game and didn't want to keep renting another one from Blockbuster, this was your answer to finally seeing the end credits. This retro N64 magazine issue features tips and cheats for a wide array of games, including racing titles like Beetle Adventure Racing and F1 World Grand Prix, along with classics such as GoldenEye 007, The Legend of Zelda, and Mario Kart 64. The issue also covers Mortal Kombat 4, Mystical Ninja 2, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, and WWF Attitude, promising cool crash and burn codes for Vigilante 8, along with tips for Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Reader submissions are encouraged with the chance to win cool N64 stuff and participation in score challenges, like the GoldenEye 007 Bond Mega Challenge. The magazine highlights unlockable characters and extra content for WWF Attitude. Cheats and Easter eggs are promised throughout the magazine, a staple of the era. This page is all about cheat codes, proper handy for getting through some of those tough N64 games. First off, it's got a guide to the controller icons, which is a lifesaver when you're trying to punch in these button combos. Then it kicks off with Superman 64. Bless them, they admit it's not the best game, which is putting it mildly, isn't it? But they've got some codes to mess about with, like turning into a car, changing the camera and level select. Blimey, even Wario's face is there poking fun at it. Next up is Wipeout 64, which is more like it, proper fast futuristic racing. They reckon you'll need cheats for this one cause it's so hard, which is fair enough. Codes for all ships, infinite energy, and infinite weapons. Sounds like you can really cause some carnage. Jorish Rogue Squadron gets a mention for unlocking the Naboo fighter. Apparently you need to enter Halifax, and then Warringtonos Alunui as a code. Naboo starfighter, mind you, bit before its time considering the Phantom Menace film wasn't even out then. Cheeky. Finally, it's Episode 1 Racer. They call it new codes to stop you crashing out, which is a bit of an understatement. You crashed out all the time in that pod racer, didn't you? There's talk of dual controls and invincibility, which sounds essential for that game, especially on the Galactic Circuit courses. They were rock hard. So yeah, a proper cheat sheet for some tricky N64 games. This article provides tips and cheats for several Nintendo 64 games. For F1 World Grand Prix, it suggests a trick to unlock all challenges. Beetle Adventure Racing offers a turbo start and hints at secret cars like a police beetle. Mystical Ninja 2 is highlighted for its 4-player mode and costume unlocks. Rogue Squadron gets level select and unlimited lives codes, while Zelda, Ocarina of Time has a trick to get unlimited health. Mario Kart 64's Speed Start is explained, and WCW/NWO Revenge reveals how to perform special moves. WWF Warzone has a Big Bonce cheat, and GoldenEye 007 unlocks a similar cheat after a specific level completion. Finally, Load Runner features a level select code. The article concludes with a call to Nintendo for gaming support during August and September. This webpage is a relic from the late 90s, a time when finding game cheats meant calling premium rate phone lines. Cheatmaster, looking like a comic book character, advertised itself as the UK's biggest and best value service, covering N64, PlayStation, Dreamcast, PC, and Game Boy, with over 2,000 games covered, release dates, charts, and news. The game list is a nostalgic trip, featuring N64 classics like Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, and Ocarina of Time, alongside sports games and more. Calls cost 60p a minute, with separate lines for under and over 16s. They also offered a faxback service and a competition hotline, with prizes like N64s, PlayStations, and Dreamcasts. A dedicated line for a GoldenEye walkthrough cost 25p per minute. A reminder of a time when getting game secrets was an expensive, but fondly remembered, experience. This page highlights reader-submitted gaming tips for classic N64 titles. Featured games include Wipeout 64, with tips for unlocking a secret track and doubling weapon power via Cyclone technology. Star Wars Episode 1, Racer offers advice on triggering alien swearing by double-tapping R. WWF Warzone provides guidance on maximizing created wrestler stats through specific match types and difficulty settings. Finally, GoldenEye 007 includes a tip about a hidden Bond picture in the facility level. The article reflects on a bygone era of gaming, where secrets were shared through magazine submissions, contrasting with the instant online access of today. This magazine page focuses on reader-submitted gaming help and tips. Hot Game Help addresses player issues in Mortal Kombat 4, unlocking characters, WWF Warzone, hairstyles, Legend of Zelda, Spirit Temple, Vrally Edition 99, cheat codes for a lost cartridge, and FIFA 99, Ronaldo's name. New ways to play highlights GoldenEye 007 multiplayer modes, GoldenEye on the Run, and GoldenEye Bomb Squad. The Can You Help section answers questions about Banjo-Kazooie, Gruntilda's Shield, and Zelda, Ocarina of Time, bottle location. A write-in box encourages readers to submit tips for prizes. Growing to knee. This section highlights reader-submitted high scores for classic N64 games. Challenges included fastest times in Episode 1 Racer, Baru Coast, Banjo-Kazooie, Treasure Trove Cove Jiggy Collection, Beetle Racing, Diddy Kong Racing's Metro Madness, and Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Dampe Graveyard Race. The results section reveals top performers. Tony Dunster dominated the Zelda Dampe race with an impressive 49 seconds. 1080-degree snowboarding saw Lucas Simu lead the pack. F-Zero X on Big Blue was topped by Richard Dunn, with the Dunn family showing strong results. The page celebrates the competitive spirit and nostalgia of the N64 era. This page focuses on high scores and player recognition in a Nintendo 64 magazine. It begins with a plug for the Diddy Days cartoon and a humorous warning against cheating, particularly in racing games, with a "big donkey is watching you" message. The article then details how to submit scores, including taking photos or videos of gameplay and providing personal details for potential publication. Top scorers could win prizes like a Nintendo controller or Rumble Puck. The main event highlighted is a Mega Challenge GoldenEye tournament held at Nom Towers to find the best UK players, building suspense by promising results in the next issue. The GoldenEye 007 Mega Challenge finals took place at Nom Towers, featuring finalists from various locations, including Dublin. John Pollard, the favourite, dominated the practice round. The contestants were Mark Dolan, Joe Donhow, John Pollard, and Slide, each with a profile including their character choice and a quote. The final challenge was on the stack map, with license to kill rules. John Pollard consistently led, securing a decisive victory. The prizes included steering wheels, controllers, and Nom t-shirts, with John receiving a grand prize haul of games and a limited edition controller. The magazine is promoting a Mega Challenge FIFA tournament on N64, shifting from GoldenEye deathmatches. Players could enter by achieving a top 4 score in a full league using West Ham or England. Proof of the score was required via photo or video. Winners would compete in a showdown at Nom Towers for Nintendo prizes. The page also highlights Alex F's GoldenEye skills, hinting at the rewards given to previous finalists to entice participation. Rules include a closing date, random team/venue selection, and finalist availability. The magazine's decision is final. The tournament aims to capitalize on the popularity of FIFA games on the N64 and the general interest in football. This guide focuses on multiplayer tactics for Star Wars Episode 1, Racer on the N64, specifically the Planet Uvo IV track, Executioner. Success in single-player mode is a good foundation for multiplayer. Tips include weaving to block opponents, mastering turbo starts, and using heavier pods for aggressive racing. A track map highlights shortcuts, braking before a tunnel, utilizing another shortcut, avoiding crashes in a wind tunnel, navigating rotating tunnels, and boosting through a rock-filled tunnel. The guide also touches on in-game upgrades. Watto's parts, with their prices, suggest investing in traction and repulsor grips. Anakin's advice is to delay buying upgrades until necessary, as better parts are frequently available. The article provides standard tips and tricks to enhance multiplayer gameplay, aimed at fostering friendly, and potentially heated competition. This guide offers tips for 2 tracks in Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, Sebula's Legacy and Grabvine Gateway. Sebula's Legacy on Malastare is a challenging mountain course, heavily reliant on shortcuts and avoiding obstacles like methane mist. The guide emphasizes knowing the track and utilizing shortcuts. Grabvine Gateway on Barunda offers a more varied environment with desert and jungle sections. It requires careful handling, especially braking for sharp turns, and the use of a single shortcut. The guide also advises players on acquiring pod parts, recommending checking the junkyard for cheaper options, and highlighting the benefits of having pit droids to minimize breakdowns. The core advice is to learn tracks and upgrade pods. This guide continues tips for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, focusing on the Andobi Mountain Run and Deathro's Revenge tracks. Andobi Mountain Run features shortcuts involving a tent and a wall crack, crucial for shaving off time. The guide also warns players to watch out for obstacles. Deathro's Revenge, set on planet Ordaibana, offers a wider track and is less reliant on shortcuts. Players should be aware of scaffold tubes, floodlights, and arches. The guide also mentions the availability of acceleration upgrades from Watto, like dual and quad PCX injectors, with prices for those upgrades. This article offers tips for Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, focusing on 2 tracks, Fire Mountain Rally and the Boonta Classic. Fire Mountain Rally on Barunda features lava tunnels, rope bridges, waterfalls, and jungle bends. Key tips include braking, hugging the left side in lava tunnels to avoid engine fires, and navigating a sharp desert rock area. Anakin's speed tips, Advise using shortcuts. The article also lists pod part upgrades and their prices. The Boonta Classic on Tatooine, the setting for Anakin and Sebulba's race, emphasizes shortcuts, including off-track jumps and service lane routes. The article highlights hazards, like the Grand Canyon and floor fires. The article concludes by announcing the completion of the Galactic Podracing Circuit and the upcoming invitational races in the next issue. This guide provides a walkthrough for the first 3 levels of Duke Nukem 0 Hour on the N64. The first level, Mean Streets, instructs players on navigating the level's car park, corridors, and Duke Burger Club to acquire the code card. The guide highlights shooting fire hydrants for water refills, a unique game mechanic. Next, Open Subway focuses on infiltrating the subway in Liberty Island. Players are guided through a series of actions involving tanks, rooftops, and switches to unlock subway access. Finally, Find Time Machine part describes the continued level, now focused on finding the first time machine part using a mix of boxes, hotels, grenades, and tunnels. The guide utilizes screenshots to help players along the way, offering straightforward, albeit potentially convoluted, level advice. This guide offers tips for 5 Duke Nukem 0 Hour levels. Liberty or Death focuses on navigating the Statue of Liberty, including a secret area for scuba gear and electrical hazards. Destroy Power Core guides players through walkways and elevators to reach and destroy an alien power core. Raise Water Level is an underwater level requiring scuba gear and featuring spiders and grenade launchers. Nuclear Winter takes place in post-apocalyptic New York, tasking players with finding power cells amongst cliffs, subways, and other hazards. Finally, Delta Power Cell involves a zombie invasion, emphasizing speed while players save babes and navigate a city filled with enemies. The guide offers basic direction without excessive hand-holding, providing essential guidance for players. This guide offers tips for various levels in Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Beta Power Cell directs players through train carriages and underwater swims to obtain a vital item. Find Level Exit emphasizes survival during a Special Forces base attack, involving rooftop traversal and dealing with teleporting enemies. Activate Communicator guides players through subway grates and buildings to power up a communicator. Fallout focuses on destroying a force field, requiring players to utilize rocket pads, underwater passages, and the Vitamin X weapon. Finally, Under Siege details navigating tunnels, blowing up walls, and confronting Octobrains at the Special Forces base, emphasizing speed and efficient combat. This page offers tips for Duke Nukem 0 Hour, specifically focusing on navigating the Power-Up Lab door and Activate Defenses sections, which involve complex level layouts and revisiting areas. Advice is given for defeating the boss hog, using powerful weapons like the Havoc multi-launcher, aiming for his upper body. The article also highlights secrets within the game, including the BMF Thunderstrike weapon and a time machine part, as well as hidden atomic health and SMG clips. A final tip warns players about the level's maze-like structure and potential for getting lost. The issue concludes with a preview of next month's issue, hinting at a time-traveling adventure with cowboys and Victorian England settings. This advertisement showcases a range of N64 products. They are pushing a Nintendo and Star Wars Racer bundle. The console itself is priced, along with bundles including popular games like Mario 64, GoldenEye, and Zelda. Game deals include discounts on WWF Attitude, Jet Force Gemini, Shadowman, and Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Accessories such as controllers, memory packs, and carry cases are also available. Racing wheels, rumble packs, cables, and memory cards are on offer too. The advertisement also includes deals on used games, a swap service, and offers for US game purchases. A comprehensive list of N64 games, both UK and US versions, new and used, is presented. Additional items like sticker kits, game boosters, and player's guides are listed. The ad concludes with a small discount on multiple second-hand game purchases. This advertisement from Excitement Direct showcases a mail-order selection of 90s gaming merchandise. The ad prominently features action figures from popular games like Mario Kart, Duke Nukem, Zelda, and Tekken 3. Nintendo-licensed soft toys, specifically Nintendo Beanies, are also offered. The Game Boy Color takes center stage, with the console, bundles, accessories, and a vast selection of games highlighted. Other items include watches, keyrings, and Mario Kart toy cars. Finally, the ad rounds out its offerings with deals on the PlayStation and Dreamcast, alongside a traditional order form, offering a glimpse into the pre-internet shopping experience. This issue of Club Mario features a reader letter section hosted by Dave and Sean, addressing reader feedback. A Pokémon quiz challenges players' knowledge. Nicholas Haynes praises Pokémon, claiming it surpasses Zelda, and wins a prize. Richard Williams reviews NHL 99, praising its gameplay and graphics, though noting scoring imbalances, awarding it a 92%. Who's the Hero? Presents a guessing game. Letters discuss Carmageddon 64's delay, and rumors surrounding 12 Tales Conquer 64. Graham Isime enjoys WWF Warzone. Sam Cole anticipates Pokémon's release, with Dave highlighting its imminent arrival and suggesting a Game Boy purchase. Dave also recommends F1 World Grand Prix 2. He also teases upcoming rare titles like Jet Force Gemini, Donkey Kong 64, and Perfect Dark. This magazine page features N64 game-related content, starting with simple brain teasers like Who's the Hero? And Name That Game, the latter a crossword puzzle with N64 titles as answers. Ultimate Warrior focuses on Pokémon, including a character design competition. Hidden Heroes presents distorted images of game characters for readers to identify. Pokémon dominates the Power Pack section with a reader-designed box sleeve. Reader letters praise games, particularly Pokémon and Castlevania 64. Dave offers balanced perspectives, downplaying hype, and pointing out flaws. Discussions cover games like Shadow Man, South Park Rally, and various rare titles. A common complaint about delayed UK game releases is also present. The page concludes with another Who's the Hero? Clue, and the Nintendo magazine logo. This issue of Club Mario features a snappy moment with a photo of Shigeru Miyamoto using the Game Boy camera. Who's the Hero? Presents a Star Wars-themed clue. The reader chart, compiled by James Hyde, showcases the popularity of N64 games like GoldenEye, South Park and Zelda. Your Art Pokémon Special highlights reader-submitted artwork, including a Primate piece and a Pikachu drawing. Readers also suggest combining Pokémon with Mario Kart 64. Prizes include Wipeout 64 and Blast Corps. Finally, a reader queries about the release of WWF Attitude on the N64. This magazine page embodies late 90s Nintendo hype. A major draw was a Play Pokémon First competition, giving away copies of Pokémon Red and Blue on Game Boy. To enter, readers had to call a premium rate number. A potential London event for Pokémon Duels was teased for lucky winners. The page also featured a Mario's hit list section, asking readers' opinions on Pokémon's Christmas success, the spookiest N64 game, wrestling preferences, and Star Wars Racer vs. the movie. Reader feedback highlighted Zelda on N64, and optimism for the new Nintendo console against the Sony PlayStation. Additional sections included backwards puzzle answers, staff credits, subscription information, and legal notices. The Pokémon competition was clearly the central focus, showcasing the franchise's massive popularity. This retro gaming giveaway page offers prizes mirroring the late 90s era. The Nintendo Bonanza features Interact peripherals and a Game Boy Color Pocket, with a trivia question about Game Boy Color Rumble Pack usage, likely v Rally. Take Control offers Spider Controller gloves, tied to a Jet Force Gemini question about ant color, probably black. Turbo Power promotes Micro Machine 64 Turbo, with a contest about a driver wearing a leather jacket, guessed to be Snake. Finally, Road Rage promotes Carmageddon 64, offering the game and merchandise, with a question about what you run down, with the answer being zombies. The page evokes nostalgia for the classic gaming era, with its selection of prizes. Dice. This page is a blast from the late 90s, showcasing numerous gaming competitions. Prizes include a Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Game Boy Color, and various movie-themed items. There's also a friend's suitcase and Star Wars collectibles. Tech prizes include a TV/video combo, a mobile phone with call time, stereos, and Pentium 2 PCS. Prizebuster offered tech based on scores, while Grab a Game involved guessing game codes. 3 Answer the Question contests offered a shared prize pool, including a TV, VCR, PlayStation, stereo, Nintendo 64, mini-disc player, and a pool table. This Nintendo news page highlights upcoming games for the N64 and Game Boy Color. The N64 lineup includes titles like Asteroid 64, Donkey Kong 64, Jet Force Gemini, Mario Golf, Rayman 2, and Zelda Gaiden. For Game Boy Color, Mission Impossible is mentioned. The main focus is on Turok, Rage Wars, a new N64 game from Acclaim, promising mega multiplayer mayhem. The page features the first ever shots of the game, touting it as a potential rival to GoldenEye. The preview emphasizes fast-paced gameplay, with options like Bloodlust and Flag Tag, along with impressive graphics for the time. It reflects the typical enthusiastic game preview style of the late 90s, aiming to generate excitement for the new Turok multiplayer experience, slated for a December 1999 release. This page is really pushing Turok, Rage Wars, isn't it? They're going all in with this dino head filling up most of the space, proper in-your-face stuff. It's got that classic late 90s CG. Look, a bit chunky but impressive for the time, I suppose. They're billing it as the dino's back, but this time Turok is the one being hunted in multiplayer, which sounds like a twist, if a slightly obvious one. The text below is pretty standard preview spiel, we think. It starts, real confident, saying Rage Wars will give you all the blast action you could ever want. They're promising big guns, loads of characters, and, naturally, loads of blood. Carnage at its best is how they put it, subtle as ever. It's definitely trying to position itself as the next big multiplayer shooter on the N64, like they were hinting on the previous page comparing it to GoldenEye. The little screenshot down there looks like your typical arena shooter level, grey corridors, explosions, the usual. It's all very hyped up, but we'll see if it lives up to it when it finally comes out in December, as they mentioned on the last page. This preview highlights Ubisoft's Rayman 2, The Great Escape, a 3D platformer slated for an October release. The game features Rayman, described as a character comparable to Mario and Banjo, on a quest to save his animal friends from pirates. The preview showcases screenshots highlighting various gameplay elements, including rocket rides, lily pad hopping, and a level reminiscent of the Death Star trench run. A Crazy Races section indicates racing challenges, with water skiing, and obstacles like giant wooden posts and bombs. The preview also hints at level variety and a training level. The conclusion expresses anticipation, noting the game's long-awaited release and potential to deliver a diverse experience, while questioning if it can truly match the quality of Mario and Banjo. This issue previews upcoming Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Color games. Ubisoft Sprocket, a 3D platform puzzler for N64, promises a Banjo-Kazooie/Mario experience set in a space amusement park. It features roller-coaster design and eye-popping graphics. News also includes a Tommy Hilfiger Game Boy Color partnership, Turok 3 on N64 with multiplayer changes, and Carmageddon on GBC, offering car-crashing chaos. Destruction Derby is highlighted for its arcade-style action and multiplayer modes. The next issue promises a Space World special, with first looks at Zelda Gaiden, Mario Party 2, Pokémon Silver and Gold, and Nintendo's new machine. This page is all about Jet Force Gemini, Rare's new shooter for the N64, coming out in October 1999. Seems like they've given the characters a bit of a makeover, making Juno, Vela, Lupus and Floyd look a bit more grown-up and serious apparently, which is bad news for Mizar and his ant army. They're saying the gameplay is still the same, so expect plenty of bug blasting and head-scratching puzzles. There are a few screenshots scattered about. One shows Lupus, that little dog, who they say looks cute but has a nasty bite. Another shows Vela looking rather sharpish. And another with Juno and Floyd posing between battles apparently. Mizar isn't going to wait around forever, so they should get a move on. They reckon it's going to be massive, even saying it could be Rare's best game ever, which is quite a claim considering they made GoldenEye and Banjo-Kazooie. They're telling us to check out next month's issue for the full review, and to put it on our shopping lists now. Sounds like they're pretty confident about this one. The next page shows two very different beasts. Bless Nintendo for variety. First up, we have Worms Armageddon, finally hitting the N64. About time too. It's always been a laugh on other systems. They're calling it a top strategy puzzler. Which is fair enough, it's not just mindless blasting, although there's plenty of that. You get your team of worms, ridiculous weapons, and you try and blow the other lot to kingdom come. Classic stuff. They're banging on about new features and weapons, as if we needed more ways to explode a worm with a concrete donkey. Still, it's always good for a bit of daft fun with your mates. Then, completely different tack, there's a full page for Premier Manager 64 and Total Football Management. Right bit of a contrast, isn't it? They're laying it on thick, calling it the only football management simulation you can play on 64, which technically might be true, but it's a bit like saying you're the only ice cream van in the desert. It's there if you really want to manage football on your N64. Kevin Keegan's slapped on there, probably got paid handsomely for that. Says, and the only one you'd want to, cheeky. Still, if you're into spreadsheets and pretending to be a football boss, this is probably your only option on the 64. Roadsters, a new racer from Titus, promises a European city vibe with convertible dream machines like the Porsche Boxster and BMW Z3. It aims to improve upon their previous game, Lamborghini 64, particularly in car handling and cornering, promising controllable power slides. Players can expect diverse weather conditions, track surfaces, and a focus on taking the right racing line. Screenshots showcase gameplay, including a showroom with car stats and advice for aggressive driving. The game's graphics are touted as having sweet lighting effects. While acknowledging recent good races, the preview is cautiously optimistic, suggesting Roadsters is a solid, though potentially unspectacular, racer. The N64 lineup features WWF WrestleMania 2000, promising improved wrestling action over WCW Revenge, and NFL Quarterback Club 2000, touting enhanced graphics and gameplay. Star Wars Racer's PlayStation version was cancelled, but it continues to succeed on the N64. For Game Boy Color, there's A Bug's Life, a platformer appealing to younger players, and Mission Impossible, a side-scrolling action game utilizing the Game Boy's infrared feature. NBA Jam 2000 is also coming to N64, promising fast-paced arcade basketball. There's a mention of Nintendo potentially adding phone call capabilities to the Game Boy. This page is showcasing a couple of games coming to the N64. First up is Rally Masters, a 3D racer by Infogrames, due out in October '99. Apparently, Nintendo fans have been clamoring for a decent rally game, and this one is supposed to be it. They're making a big deal about it having real teams, cars and tracks from the World Championship, and you can even drive a classic rally car, which sounds alright. They're really pushing the graphics, saying there's loads of detail, like mud splashing up on your car and skid marks. You'll be racing on off-road courses and indoor circuits, so a bit of variety there. The magazine seems to think it's going to be a top game, even better than Rally, calling it an absolute corker. Bit strong maybe, we'll see about that. Then we've got Asteroids Hyper 64. Now that's a throwback. Classic space shooter, Asteroids, but on the N64 and in 3D. They're promising over 50 levels, with new types of asteroids, including ones that blow up randomly. You can even play multiplayer. Sounds like you'll need your blasting skills to clear the screen of pesky space rocks. They're saying there are loads of asteroids to destroy and to watch out for a huge rock coming straight for you. A bit of retro fun, could be a laugh with mates. Donkey Kong 64, developed by Rare and releasing in November 1999, promises a 3D platforming adventure. The game features Donkey Kong and New Kong family members battling King Auric Rule and the Kremlings. Expect gameplay similar to Banjo-Kazooie, potentially even better. Familiar minecart levels return, promising a challenge. Players will utilize each Kong's unique skills to progress. Screenshots showcase Donkey Kong swimming, Chunky Kong in action, tree climbing and vine swinging, Lanky Kong interacting with a mysterious symbol, and Donkey Kong with Cranky Kong. The preview hypes the game as the ultimate N64 adventure, praising its graphics and gameplay, and lauding Rare. They strongly recommend it as a must-have title. This preview from the Nintendo 64 update section covers the upcoming Mario Golf, a 3D comedy golf game set for an October release. The game combines simulation and arcade elements, allowing players to compete in single rounds or tournaments, either solo or with up to 3 friends. The article highlights quirky assistants, like Boo for wind strength, Toad for lost balls, and Lakitu for hazards. Screenshots showcase speed challenges and various shots, including Baby Mario's putt. The Pick Your Player section introduces 4 playable characters with varying strengths: Plum, Peach, Charlie, and Baby Mario. The preview concludes with a positive outlook, stating the game maintains the signature Mario feel. A full review is promised soon. This issue previews upcoming N64 games. Michael Owen World League Soccer 2000, a football sim, is due out in October, aiming to compete with FIFA and ISS. Screenshots show standard N64 graphics. Zelda Gaiden, Majora's Mask, features new beasties and features, with screenshots showcasing temple battles. Fast News highlights: Magical Tetris Challenge, 64 with Disney characters, Cyber Tiger, an arcade-style golf game, Madden NFL 2000, fully licensed, and Paperboy 64 with stunts and new courses. Mortal Kombat Special Forces has been delayed, as Midway reconsiders its development. Next month's Nintendo official magazine aggressively touts itself as the ultimate Nintendo source. They promise comprehensive coverage, including previews and screenshots. Headlining the issue is Jet Force Gemini, a sci-fi shooter from Rare, promising vibrant graphics and monster-filled levels. Other features include an updated look at Gauntlet Legends, a review of Mario Golf, and coverage of Rally Masters, a racing game. They also continue to push Michael Owen's soccer game, with a Go Buy It tag and release date of September 17th. This page heavily promotes Pokémon for the Game Boy Color, featuring Ash, Brock, and Pikachu. The headline screams, Pokémon, and the content focuses on gameplay tips, multiplayer battles, and beginner advice. Alongside this Pokémon push, the page includes a tip section with screenshots for games like Rogue Squadron and Duke Nukem 64, suggesting guides for these titles are featured within the magazine. There's also a generic section promising codes and cheats. The page also heavily plugs the Game Boy Color itself, and includes mentions of Special Offers Club Mario, hinting at a promotional strategy to sell both games and consoles, likely aimed at a younger audience. This article showcases a variety of Pokémon merchandise being promoted alongside the upcoming Game Boy game. The offerings include the Pokémon Challenge board game, £17.99, a Pikachu camera, £15.99, and the highly anticipated Game Boy game itself, £25. The Pokémon Trading Card game, priced between £2.20 and £6.49, is also heavily featured. For smaller purchases, the article highlights light-up keychains, £3.49, power bouncers, £1.99, and talking Pokémon plush toys, £7.99. The article also mentions the Pokémon TV show airing daily. Finally, a tease is given for Pokémon Stadium on the Nintendo 64, promising a major upgrade with the ability to bring Game Boy Pokémon to the console. This advert promotes a special reserve discount club, offering N64 and Game Boy Color deals. For £6.99, members receive magazines, cheat access, and a free gift. The ad showcases N64 bundles like the GoldenEye combo, alongside a vast selection of games with prices starting low. Popular titles like GoldenEye 007, Mario 64, and Zelda are featured, plus multiplayer favorites like Worms Armageddon. Accessories include controllers, including Mad Cats, steering wheels, and rumble vests. Game Boy Color and PlayStation games are also listed, with a separate ad for the Sega Dreamcast. Free gifts for joining include goodie bags, extra controllers, and memory cards. The ad also promotes Freeola for online access, and lists shop locations in the UK. The timing is perfect, promoting hardware and software alongside the upcoming Pokémon Stadium game. This page showcases a rather moody advert for Shadow Man. It's all dark and gritty, a bit different from the usual colourful Nintendo fare, wouldn't you say? It's definitely trying to be edgy, with the tagline, "It's soul-destroying Shadow Man" in bold white lettering. The main image is a close-up of a rather creepy-looking bloke with a weird symbol for an eye, looking like he's seen better days. He's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth as well, proper mature stuff for the N64, or at least that's what they were aiming for. It's promoting Shadow Man as this dark, mature action game, a bit of a departure for Acclaim, who were more known for their sports titles and licensed stuff back in the day. It was supposed to be this big, story-driven action-adventure thing, a bit different from the usual platformers and shooters that dominated the N64 at the time. You can see the logos for Nintendo 64, PlayStation, PC, CD-ROM, and even Dreamcast down at the bottom, so they were covering all bases with this one. The overall look is quite striking, trying to push that mature horror vibe, although whether the game lived up to the soul-destroying hype is another question entirely.